Welcome, everybody. We're going to do another NBA DFS My Night is Over podcast. Showdown breakdown today. We're going to be looking at the two showdowns, one for 8 o'clock, one for 9 o'clock. First showdown we're starting with is Heat at Brooklyn. Notable outs for today, obviously, is Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero. Not so notable is Avery Bradley and Myers Leonard. And Brooklyn is completely healthy, other than Spencer Dinwiddie, who is out for the season. But Brooklyn is looking relatively healthy. We got a 232, 232, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Total.
232 total, and Brooklyn is favored 7.5. What do you think about this game going on with the Heat in Brooklyn? Just to talk out the game for a second.
Well, I think one of the important things to point out was I think what a lot of people would be wondering about was why has Kendrick Nunn been going off, and why is he cheaper still? And I think the two previous games were more of outliers, because if you look at the game flow, you will see that Dragic picked up 2 quick fouls in both games,
right?
And which gave Nunn extended run. But on top of that, he also shot lights out, causing him to get 35 and 39 minutes run respectively. And I don't want to downplay that. I just think I don't think that makes him like a better or worse play. I just wanted to point that out. For the people that was wondering, why was he smashing, but his price is still lower.
Well, it also will strike you to think, will Goran Dragic, for a third straight game, get 2 quick fouls again? And
exactly.
Then will Kendrick Nunn shoot lights out after Goran gets those 2 quick fouls? But, I mean, the positive here is that Brooklyn doesn't look like they're really interested in playing too much defense, with all of those pieces that they traded away who were really good defensive players. Taurean Prince was a great defender. Jared Allen was really good at defending. But
so this game has a 232 total, so it looks like there will be no defense played in this game.
Doesn't look like it. For showdown purposes, let's run down our chalk captains for the showdown here. What are you thinking about? What should determine these captain?
I think there's just really clear cut tiers. I don't think there's like I think it's just it's black or white today, because I think the top options, the only options for captain today are Harden, Durant, Irving, or Bam.
Right.
I think it's just, and then I think it's if you're paying up at captain, it should be one of those 4, and then just fill in the rest. But I think there's a clear-cut tier difference between the players today.
Absolutely, I agree. One thing that I will say, though, is depending on the room size that you're in, that list of players becomes a lot more loose, in my opinion, just because if you're in obviously like 1,000 people room, you might want to differentiate from those 4 players to like maybe a Jeff Green or just somebody else in a different tier of player, just to make yourself like a little bit.
So basically, as the rooms get bigger, you're gonna have to get all of your plays right.
Right.
So what you want to do is you want to shorten the smaller rooms and the single entry. The more you get to that, you want to shorten your player pool, the grouping. And because in the bigger you're gonna see in the bigger 10,000 people room, the top player is almost always gonna have every single play correctly.
Always,
so,
yep.
Whereas you might have to reach into like a 1K guy. Everybody's in play for those rooms, but then as you get into the smaller single entry contest, you can actually start excluding players from your player pool.
Right, of course.
Just letting the listeners know that the contest selection should dictate the amount of risk that you're going to be taking with some of the fringe guys.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, let's look at the projections for this game. If we're looking at straight producers, Bam Adebayo is projected to be the top points earner for this showdown. Do you agree with that, or would you put somebody else at the top?
Well, I like well, aside from like the projections, I just think that Bam, like the matchup wise, he's more of like he's not like your classic center. He does a lot of facilitating. He shoots us threes, and what you'll see that in whenever there's a matchup with a prototypical center versus like the new age center, like the point forward type of players,
Right.
So you will see that they're gonna have to pull them away from the paint. And what happens is the centers they really get uncomfortable, like the guys like Drummond and those guys, when they get pulled
DJ.
away from the paint, like a guy like DJ, it seems to cut into their play because they want to be around the rim,
Right.
and now you're gonna be taking them to the 3-point line where they don't know what to do. So for that reason, I really like Bam. And if Bam's going to be out on the court, that means DeAndre will be, out on the court. And
well, here's the thing that I wonder about, right? Because from the last game they played, I'm talking about the game where Brooklyn played Milwaukee, and DeAndre Jordan was playing defense on Bam Adebayo, and I'm pretty sure I'm sorry, not on Bam Adebayo, on what's his Giannis Antetokounmpo, and when I was watching, he would just literally let Giannis shoot the three. He was playing inside the paint defense on Giannis while Giannis was outside on the 3-point line. So if he gives that same, maybe he just did that because that was Giannis playing and like they know that he can't shoot that well. But I'm taking what you're saying into account here, where those type of big men love to stay around the rim. So if he gives that.
I'm actually looking at that game, and he like because and like this is just to piggyback off of what you're saying, because he got the season high in minutes, and what that tells me is he was marking Giannis the entire game and Giannis plays a lot of minutes, which translated him to playing a lot of minutes. So he even although he was guarding Giannis. And because he stayed on the floor so much, he did also got a season high in fantasy points. But
DJ, right? Yeah.
DJ. But that's actually not what we're trying to say though, because we're trying to the question was, do you think Bam is a good play?
Right, exactly. That's why so like what I was going to end with was that's why I like Bam even more.
Me too.
Because he'll get those, like DJ will let those shots go. And just let him shoot those like 3-pointers. So I do like Bam at the captain spot there. Plus, he's not the I don't believe that he is the top priced guy in this slate either. So that'll save you a few dollars at captain. What else do you like on the Heat side? Do you think it'll be a Kendrick Nunn game or a Goran Dragic game? What are you predicting here?
So for the price, I actually like Nunn to in a in the point per dollar matchup, because you get the discount.
Yep.
Whether or not Dragic does get those 2 quick fouls or not, I think the last 2 games will show Spoelstra. I think he has earned a couple more minutes, even with just what's been happening in the last 2 games.
Right.
And even if he shoots, he doesn't have to shoot 9 for 12. Even if he shoots 6 for 12, I think he's gonna pay off his salary.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
The ownership right now is coming in. They're coming in about the same, and I don't think it's a secret to anybody what they've been doing the past couple days. I think it's just if you need the $800 saving, I think you can honestly just go with both of these guys.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, if we could take into account the fact that he's probably going to be getting Kyrie defense, and I mean, just look at what Colin Sexton did past few games against Kyrie Irving, and I don't know. Kendrick Nunn looks really good in this spot. I do like Nunn. Plus, it does save you about 1,000.
Yep, and he's gonna get that whole
salary.
second unit run. So
True.
he's just like, and it's like the a couple extra minutes that he picked up. I don't think if he, I don't think all that entirely is like an outlier. I think we can still take some of the things from that,
Mm-hmm.
and but one thing I would say is, I think you might be hamstringing yourself if you try. I think it might be optimal to maybe not play them together, because they're
Right.
negatively correlated because they come in for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the times that what do you think? Do you think Spoelstra is going to run out the 3 guards? Because in that case, it might be a contrarian lineup, like a lineup build to play them together. And I think that's what's going to ultimately determine whether or not, pairing them together would be an optimal play or not. Just a thought.
I don't know. It would be hard to see them running that 3-guard lineup, especially with James Harden, who is a bigger 2, and KD, who's a very large 3.
Yes.
4. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's positions really don't matter, but
they got a big team.
They've got a very big team, so I don't know. To see Duncan Robinson out there with Nunn and Dragic, I think is a little tough for me.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, I don't know how that would. I don't know how that will work for them. So yeah, I definitely agree that they would negatively correlate themselves. I also I don't know if I like Duncan Robinson as a play tonight either. He's projected to get 35 minutes, and at 6,600, produced 27 fantasy points. So, I mean, it depends with them. But
I'm right there with you. Duncan Robinson.
Too expensive at that price.
Pay 200 less, and I would just play Nunn.
Yeah, just play Nunn and just single that out. Kelly Olynyk is priced at 7,000, so that's very expensive for Kelly O, especially only projected for 24 minutes. It's going to be a tough sell for me on Kelly O. But then again, he's that type of player that could absolutely be the reason that you lose. So we've seen those games before. I mean, I've experienced that firsthand.
Eric Spoelstra seems to have a very tight leash. Like if Eric Spoelstra will give him his run, but then at any point he will be doghouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. Well, honestly, I also wanted to talk about one name, which was Andre Iguodala, for a 4,000 play here, slated to get projected to get 22 minutes. So if I'm looking at that right, it looks like him and Kelly O will be pretty much subbing in for each other. And I don't know. I kind of like Andre Iguodala for no real reason.
I think so. Going back to like when we set the contest selection, I think without getting too crazy, he will be like without needing a 1% guy. Guys like this is like the example that we're talking about in like the big rooms,
right?
Like 1,000 people GPP. You don't need to get too like absolutely crazy. Like guys like this is who we're talking about. You look at Andre Iguodala. This guy averages 5 points, but look at what he does. He contributes all over the board. So
yeah, absolutely.
He does not need to score. And
plus, Andre Iguodala is the player that's known for these big marquee guys. Like a LeBron or a Kevin Durant. Andre Iguodala is who they play on. You know what I mean? Like that's who they play to defend them.
He plays defense.
Yes, he plays very, very good defense, and he can get those steals and he pounds on assists and rebounds. So he's a really good stat filler. I like him tonight for 4K too.
So
Plus,
just to
yeah, go
so
ahead.
basically like to just to sum this up, like we got the top four guys, the three stars in Brooklyn plus Bam.
Right.
I think we just agreeing that those four guys are going to be like the top tier guys.
Hmm.
Um, we just mentioned about Iguodala is going to be like that big tournament value savings.
Hmm.
How do you like any of these mid-range guys? Like a Joe Harris or a Jeff Green? Like, what do you think? They're fades, or do you think uh, just to share your thoughts about that?
I don't know. Joe Harris at 6K, right? Yeah, he's at 6K. Projected to get
Hmm.
33 minutes. I mean, he's streaky. He can get hot. He can get hot, especially if he's coming off the bench. Because right now, I'm pretty sure that they're running Jeff Green in the projected lineup.
Right.
So he's coming off the bench. He'll get that second team usage, which is going to be real nice for him. It just depends on whether his shot's going to go in or not.
Yep.
Miami is a pretty good defensive team, so it would be tough, especially if he's the lone producer. That means that if they play the right type of defense, that he would be the one getting double teamed if it's necessary. So I just don't know if I like Joe Harris coming off with that $6,000 price to give me all of the value back for what I'm spending
So,
for him.
so, so on a side note, for example, like yesterday there was the Atlanta Minnesota showdown game where
Yeah,
Atlanta just absolutely just completely blew them out, right?
smash them.
So, how much stock do you put into like the spread? So basically, this Miami Brooklyn game, it says Brooklyn's slated to win by 8. So in this type of game, do you like does that dictate like how many players of each team do you put in, or do you just not take that into account because anything can happen?
See, like other than if the game is projected for to be a complete blowout, do I consider playing four of one team to two
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
other
Like, does
team?
that determine like how many guys you take from each team, or is that
So
just
like
the
you'll
luck of the draw
notice,
type of
right?
thing?
Like I mean, at least I notice in showdowns, if I play three players to three and it was a blowout, the guy in first will almost like typically they will have four players from the winning
Hmm.
team and then two
Right.
players from the losing team. That's the way I've noticed it go down
Exactly.
from like what I've seen. But I mean, that's not it always
Does
varies.
that
It's
does
not
that
always the
dictate
case.
what you do?
Sometimes I mean, you never really want to play a blowout scenario, right? But like if
Exactly.
you
That
just
is the
know,
key.
so like the Atlanta thing was like kind of honestly for me, it was a little unexpected because I did not think that they would blow out Minnesota like that. That D'Angelo Russell would really. I don't
Yeah,
know if he's injured
he sh-
because he's out
wet
tonight.
he wet the bed. Oh, really? What? Is it?
I might be mistaken in that news right
Yeah,
now.
he is out. He is out. He is out. So
He is
maybe he
right.
well they said he's out for rest, but I think what basically the game did not stay close because D'Angelo Russell wet the bed,
And
and
Clint Capella
that
got 10
you
blocks and a triple
10
double.
blocks, yes. So
Absolutely
yeah,
insane.
so basically it's just I guess if you're not going to take into account blowouts, um, it's just like one aspect of like the strategy that you can use. You can just have like a game script in your head of how you think the game's gonna go, and
Right.
maybe you can just take that approach and just that could just be part of your strategy.
Right, absolutely. With that being said, the main plays for this game, in my opinion, are the three stars for Brooklyn, and
Hmm.
trying to like see which two you take. Because what do you think? Do you need to fade at least one of these stars from Brooklyn tonight?
Well, the thing is, because you only have what? How many slots do you have? You got 6 slots, right?
Right.
So I think playing all three of them is actually it's the equivalent of playing a quarterback, both of the receivers, and a running back in the same lineup. I think it's gonna actually take away if you have every single one of those guys. So I think it's gonna be pivotal to guess which two out of the three, and to have those two guys in the lineup. I think it's going to be having all three of them. It's going to be negative.
It's going to be a negative, yeah.
But the thing is, if this is why maybe contest size will matter, because you're going to see that, like in like the millionaire makeup for NFL,
Mm-hmm.
the teams that win, they're gonna have that the mega stack, where you're gonna have they play the team that just absolutely goes off, and when that happens, everybody scores high.
Right.
But I think it's a little bit more risky to do that. Not saying that won't happen, but I would probably take a stance on two out of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It would. It's not impossible. It's going to be interesting to see after the slate's over, to see if anybody like in that millionaire, or like in that that 50,000 people room that's always up like every night for like almost every slate. And I want to see at the end there if anybody actually is going to be able to fit in all three and a Bam on a bio. You know what I mean? And just to see that lineup construction go down. Obviously, it's possible if you put a 1K guy at captain. You know what I mean? You'll have enough.
If you're gonna throw in 150 lineups,
somebody will do it.
Like I could see like all 4 stars smashing, but being a blowout, and then just some guy taking it down, whoever got the 2 blowout guy correctly. But
Right.
if I was putting in 150, why not throw 5 of those?
Right.
Yeah.
But we're honestly just more focused on those single entry, low people, pretty modest dollar value to them, around 20 to 30. You know what I mean? That's what we're like really just mainly focusing on here. Other than the stars, well, honestly, I wanted to talk about who I would personally fade from those three.
What fades of the night? What's a fade of the game?
I would fade Kyrie. James Harden is just a bigger producer as far as assists than Kyrie is. Kyrie is honestly the 2 in this lineup. I feel, just because his assists have gone down, and James Harden is obviously an assist machine, it seems like, and KD will always get his shots, and he's so efficient that like it won't even matter if he gets just 14 shots that night. He'll probably make like 10 of them at least. So like that's why I would say that Kyrie would be my fade for this one. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think as these there's more games, because we really don't know what this team is yet, because I don't think there's been many games where all 3 of them played normally, and one of them being a double overtime game. So I just think like as time goes, and there's just when we get into like the deeper part of the season, I think it'll shape out. We will see what roles they're playing. But one thing, with the Kyrie situation, I think from what we've seen so far, James Harden's been more of the facilitator, and I do think from what we've seen so far, Kyrie is the odd man out.
That's what it seems like to me. Kyrie, of course, is a lethal scorer. You know what I mean? So he can drop 30. It seems like any time he wants to. He's a star. You know what I mean? He's a star. So like, he's never gonna just absolutely kill your lineup, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to note that we're by no means we're saying Kyrie's gonna bust. But we're saying we're gonna have to take a stance with 2 of those 3 guys.
Yes.
And out of just based on what we've seen so far, he would be the odd man out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
I
just
like
in case
that.
there's people out there, who might have misunderstood. We're trying to say Kyrie's going to be a bust.
Um, all right. Anything else to say about this game? Any other
No.
thoughts?
Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Next game we have on the slate, it is the Los Angeles Lakers, and they are playing at the Chicago Bulls arena. Today we have Carter Jr. out. We've got Otto Porter Jr. out. AD is probable. LeBron's questionable, but fucking LeBron always plays, so
He's going to play.
he's gonna play. The game is total for 228, and yeah, Lakers look like they're what, a
9 point, 10 point favorite.
9, 10
9.5.
point favorite. Yeah, about a 10 point favorite, just about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is telling me that it looks like they might blow this team out, but honestly, the past few games with the Lakers, I think they've only had one blowout, and that was against Memphis, maybe, if I'm remembering that right.
Lakers been blowing teams out.
Oh, they've been blowing teams out the whole season?
Yeah, pretty. If you for the people that are thinking like, oh, LeBron's washed or whatever, he's it's the reason why he's I think he's only. I'm pretty sure he's not the top 25 player this year, and I think the biggest reason for that is that this team's just been blowing teams out, and they're just not getting the run. Not because LeBron is washed. I don't know if people saw his 34-point game the other day, but LeBron can still LeBron.
No, absolutely. LeBron's always a play, no matter what. From the Lakers side, I mean, it's LeBron and AD. And then just, you have to get your third piece right, and there could be a fourth piece always there because Montrez is coming off of the bench, former sixth man of the year last year, so he always has that capability of getting a high 30s or even 40s. But other than LeBron and AD, I love point guards against Chicago. It always seems to just be a really good matchup for the point guard that's playing Chicago. With Sato coming back, though, that could possibly throw a wrench into that because he is a bigger point guard, and that could spell trouble for Dennis Schroeder. But just looking at Dennis Schroeder against Kobe White, I love Dennis Schroeder in this matchup.
So I think for this particular slate, just looking at it from a bigger picture, just like a macro picture, I think people are going to notice that salary is really not an issue. Where you can have four or five of the main guys and still have enough money to play really anybody you want. So I think when in this type of scenario, even if I want to talk a little bit about if there was to be a blowout. So what is a blowout? A blowout is when a team is winning by it's destroying the other team usually by 20 points or more, that it causes the starters to not get their entire run.
Right.
But if you really think about that, usually what would have happened was who is doing the blowing out? It's usually the main guys, right? So if there was a blowout, typically what it's saying is the main guys have already gotten there. So in the case of a Lakers blowout, I think it's if you're going to take that route, I think an optimal lineup construction is to take the lesser piece from the Bulls, because the starters are not going to be on fire, and then you leave salary on the table.
Right.
That's one way you can be unique. I don't think the individual plays for this slate, in my opinion, it's going to be as important. I think maybe it's important that you're gonna have to hit on the one guy, but just by playing around with the lineup construction, you can get you can get a Zach LaVine, Kobe White, um, James, AD, and then
Yeah.
just like it, and then you can still have salary. So
Yep. Very
um,
true.
it's that's tougher for me, honestly, because
Yeah, it is. It
it's,
gets a little bit dicey when you see that you're possibly leaving 1,000 on the board because of the way that.
or you can just play whoever you want because like everybody's gonna have all of these guys, and it's just going to be less. It's like it'll give you less outs to you're gonna have to be more like correct on the lesser guys.
Right. Well, as far as matchup wise, I mean, let's talk this one out. As far as matchup wise, how do you see them absolutely blowing out? I don't see anybody on the Bulls side being able to handle Anthony Davis. I feel like this is a
Well,
smash spot for him.
if there's a blowout, it's going to be the Lakers doing the blowout, I
Of
think.
course, yeah, that's
So
what I.
so
Yeah, of
so
course.
so if you're gonna take the blowout approach, stack the Lakers guys, have the lesser Bulls guys. It's just like for, if you want to take the blowout approach, I think that's how you should approach it.
Right.
Um, as if you just want to, if you're just looking at the slate, just as in its entirety, you just let's just go through and just ask ourselves this question: Are you not going to play AD? Are you not going to play James? Are you not going to play like Zach LaVine? And I
Right.
think
Yeah,
just by
you're gonna take all your
just by
stars.
process of elimination, and you should just like have the guys that are obvious plays, and then try to alter like the secondary plays. And um, what do you think about like a guy like Schroeder tonight?
Yeah, like I said, Schroeder I think is a really really good play.
Hmm.
Because the salary doesn't because their really salary doesn't matter in this one when we
Hmm.
were constructing. um, I don't think that you need him at captain to try to save any type of money. Like for me, I'm going AD
Yep.
or LeBron at captain, and then maybe
Hmm.
if you want to really get adventurous, play Zach LaVine. Other than that, I really wouldn't play around with anyone else. But I definitely would take if you're stuck in the lineup construction and you've already have AD, LeBron, and Zach in there, and then you're putting in somebody like Kobe White. Well, you could just actually just pivot down from Kobe to Dennis Schroeder and just save some money there and get a better pick, in my opinion, and then just play somebody else with that little bit of money that you saved there. So Dennis Schroeder would definitely be my third pick as far as these LA Lakers go. But on the Bulls side, what I really wanted to talk about was the fact that Daniel Gafford is going to be stepping in for
Yes. Yeah.
Carter Jr.
Wendell Carter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Wendell Carter Jr. So Daniel Gafford is a great salary saver, and that's the reason he is the reason, honestly, in my opinion, that that salary doesn't matter in this slate. Because he is, I think, 1/8. If I'm, yep, he is like 1/8 in this showdown. So he just lets you play anybody that you want. I feel like you have to have him in 100% lineup, 100% of your lineups. What do you think?
So I think it's tonight will come down to which of the guys you get correctly between Gafford, Markkinen, Temple, and Thaddeus Young. Because what's happened yesterday with Wendell being out you saw Temple, Gafford,
Mm-hmm.
and Thad getting more run, the bigger guys,
Mm-hmm.
and we really don't know how this rotation is going to how this rotation is going to work, considering there's only been one game where this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to, in the sense of like, yes, Gafford is he'll allow you to get everybody else. So um, the he will definitely open up salary. But if everybody is taking that approach, and if they're paying down with Gafford and then paying off for everybody else, um, are it might contribute to the uniqueness of your lineup in a big room, because you're going to get like a 500 way tie. So I think,
True. Yeah.
um, but if in a smaller single game slate, I think he should be 100%, because he just opens up. You want those raw points. He allows you to
Right,
get
exactly, yeah.
everybody else on top. But I would say if you're entering like the multi-entry GPP area, I think I think it's best to just have like a combination of of these guys, because we don't really know which one of these peripheral pieces are going to go off. So I think for it's in a multi-entry GPP, that's when you start taking using different combo. In a
Right.
single game approach, I would take Gafford 100% as your salary saver of the night.
Right, absolutely. So, I wanted to say one thing though about just like my what I like to think about or how I like to break down my
Showdowns.
game script and my showdown. Because for me, it's so much easier to just be able to look at one game and just dissect it from what I've seen in the past and what I think is going to happen based off of what the games I've watched these teams play. If you're asking me, I think that Thad Young will get a little bit more run in this game just because of the body size that he's going to have to match up with Anthony Davis. That's why in my personal opinion, I wouldn't play a Lauri Markkanen tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm just game scripting in my head, like what I think is going to happen during this game, LeBron is always going to be LeBron no matter what.
So you're basically trying to say for you, Markkinen's a fade.
That's what I. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just based off of like the way that I see the game going down, right?
Yeah.
I just see that AD is just going to be way too dominant. Lauri Markkanen might pick up those 2 quick fouls. Thad Young is going to have to play play more minutes now that
extended run.
with the extended run, and because you know what I mean. That's what you want. You just want the minutes because as long as somebody's out there, that means that they have the chance to score points, no matter what they're doing. You just want the opportunity.
Yep.
So that's why I kind of like Thad Young as well in this game. He's 5K projected for 25 minutes. So I don't know. I could see that going up a little bit, especially with the size threat that LA poses. Daniel Gafford.
$3,000 savings.
And yeah, you take the $3,000 savings. Zach LaVine, man, I think that he is on an absolute tear as of late. This guy
you just play him.
You have to play Zach.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that this guy is like absolutely he is shining this year, man. This guy's just
crushing, yeah.
He's putting up like really, really, really good numbers. I'm fucking pissed that I didn't get to pick him up in season long.
Oh,
you remember I had him last year.
Smashing.
I had him last year, and he was absolutely he was so good, so good. I'm so disappointed I didn't get to pick him up. All right. Well, other than that, I was thinking about just the rest of the pieces from this game. KCP just came off of 7 threes made out of 10 last game that they played, and who were they playing? Yeah, Milwaukee, which is a great defensive team. You know what I mean? But what do you think the chances that KCP goes off again tonight? He is really, really low at 3,800, and obviously he starts, and he's a key piece there.
So I think if you're not going to play Gafford, that the salary will get a little bit tight. Like it'll get a little bit more tight, whereas you won't be able to play as many of the stars, and you're going to have to look at that this range of players. And for the lineups that don't have Gafford, I think guys like KCP, guys in this price range who are going to get the minutes, who have the high upside, will because if you look at the guys in this price range, we got Satoransky priced higher than him, and we got Marc Gasol right below him. So I'll absolutely all day I would go with KCP.
Over. I mean, Gasol isn't even like, in my opinion, like very rarely. I'd have to see a narrative for me to be able to.
Yeah, for that price range, I think he's actually the bang for the buck. It's just for KCP.
Oh yeah, KCP. Yeah.
I think there's just a clear, like, it's just a for this slate, it's just a very very clear path. You're gonna put in the guys that you like,
Right.
and you're gonna see how much you got left. You're gonna take Gafford, not take Gafford, and then I think you're gonna see how much you have left, and then you just pick the guy best guy in that salary range.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's that would be the approach. Just because the salary is just so loose for this.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, again, like that's why it's kind of tough to play some of these pieces like at 4-6 for Denzel Valentine, or like, you know what I mean.
8-4
These
for
guys,
Garrett Temple, like
yeah,
for like Garrett Temple. Yeah.
yeah. It's just I don't really see myself going that route whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Tomo Satoransky is back tonight. What do you think? Do you think he cuts into Kobe White's minutes at all?
So he is he got run yesterday.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. He played 11 minutes.
Which is not really.
I think the question should be not whether you want to play him or not. It more should be like, does he cut away from other guys? And,
yeah. Yeah, like what does him coming back mean for the rest of these guys?
He might, but we'll have to see. It's just
one thing to note: he wasn't injured. He wasn't injured.
He was
right?
not injured. He did
came
get
back,
11 minutes.
Yeah, and he only got 11 minutes in his return, which is a little strange. I mean, that's not coming off of an injury. Only.
I honestly think this is his role this year, and maybe. I don't see the minutes increasing.
Yeah.
So I think if the direct relationship this will have is, it will take maybe a couple minutes off of Kobe White, but I don't think it's big enough to, consider like
justify playing him. Yeah.
Yeah, justify. Yeah, I think we spend too much time on Satoransky. So talking about
we've already spent too much time saying his name.
Is he listening to this? Is he?
He better be.
But I think that's how we should approach tonight. It's just play the top guys, see how much money you got left, and then differentiate from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you go without, if you're gonna play everybody at the top. I think you will have to take a salary saver like a Gafford or KCP, and then just adjust accordingly from there, because you never, it'll just depend, because you want those high producers from every team, but then again, a mismatch does present another variable in there, where stacking that 4-man team on the Lakers to the 2-man, you know what I mean, now, because shit might happen with Lauri Markkanen and Thad Young might go off, so you might want to have Zach, Gafford, and Thad, you know what I mean, some of the bigger guys. So it'll be interesting to see what direction everybody goes with there, because me personally, I really like the guard play. So it's going to be tough for me to play.
We live in a world of it's a salary. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to just like take the obvious plays, and then just you're gonna play your obvious plays, and then it's just we hope that the other plays play out.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this game as well. Pretty sure that wraps it up for these two showdowns for tonight. Anything last words that you wanted to say? Anything else?
Well, I wanted to just kind of note that like we wanted to take a different approach just for the DFS podcast, and we wanted to do a showdown breakdown. So just let us know what you thought, and what you guys want to hear more, what we can improve on. And I just think this is also like it could be a next up and coming thing, just because nobody really does the showdown aspect, but I think there's a lot of money to be made in showdown as well.
Absolutely. Well said. Just to add to that, feedback is always welcome, like Bluebeard said. We really want your feedback. If you are watching this, we're new to this, so we're not fucking professionals at this whatsoever. I've been only doing DFS for about a year now, and that's because Bluebeard introduced me to it, just because of the love that I had for basketball, and you know what I mean. And that sparked this whole interest into doing this aspect of just possibly putting a podcast out there, just for those who are also beginners like me. Bluebeard is a more experienced player. He's very knowledgeable in this, but we are always looking for feedback that could help us improve whatever we're doing, because we're not perfect. We know we're not perfect, and we're still beginners. So any feedback is always welcome and appreciated.
So what do you say? You want to do this tomorrow again?
Fuck yeah!